Hey guys, today's Raising Carter podcast is about trust. Trust between fathers and sons.
That's right. Trust. And trust between father is the cornerstone of the relationship between father and son, and trust is the cornerstone of that. So, my question to you, Daz, is what are you doing to help build trust between you and your son? Because my son's 7 now, but he's not always going to be 7. I got an older son that's 28, and the relationships change. And you have to have trust. You have to make it easy for them to come to you and talk to you, and for you to talk to them. So, what is something that we can do that can help build trust between me and you? What do you think there's something?
Okay, so to help build trust, like fathers and sons need to actually know about each other. For example, if I'm talking to Dad and I say, Dad, what would you do for practice? And then I need to know about him to get okay, for example, so something we can do to build trust is know more about each other instead of hiding secrets. I need to trust that dad isn't, doing another podcast behind my back.
I get what you're saying. You need to know that I'm on, we're a team. You need to know that I'm in it to win it with you. You need to know that I know what I'm talking about. Because I remember a time when, I love my dad, but I had these baseball cards and I was collecting baseball cards, and I would go to him and ask him like, "Oh, is this guy any good?" And he would say, "Oh yeah, he's good." And I'd take another guy to him, he'd be like, "Yeah, he's good." Every guy I took to him was good. I'm like, I've never even seen you watch baseball. So how do you know if anybody's good? So don't just say, if you don't know something, dads, it's okay to say, I don't know. I don't know. We can find out together. That's how you build trust, by being honest, open, and vulnerable. So that might be a little revolutionary to, or, a little too up to date for God. My 87-year-old father, maybe now with his grandson, he'll just say, I don't know. But to me, he just was like, oh yeah, he's good. And he didn't even know.
Now, dads out there, kids out there and dads, I'm not saying that you have to know everything about your dad. I'm just saying, for example, like he said, you can ask your dad, oh, did you play any sports when you were a kid? Did you, watch baseball when you were a kid? You can ask them questions, but kids, you don't have to know everything about your mom, dad. You don't have to know everything about them.
What makes you feel happy, safe when we spend time together? What makes you feel that way?
So, when we do the podcast, that what makes me feel that way, because then on the podcast, I know more about you. Because I know when you were a kid, you collected baseball cards.
Right.
And when you were a kid, you played sports.
Right. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And that just dawned on me. Is when you do something like this, when we do, you talk about things that you probably normally wouldn't talk about. And that's great. And that's an awesome thing. You know, now is every dad and son going to do a podcast together? Maybe not. But if you do, or if you do, or if you do something similar, you're going to find out, your son's going to find out things about you that he might not normally know. Because I heard somewhere that the average parent only spends 7 minutes a day in direct conversation with their son, daughter. So 7 minutes, you might be in the bathroom longer than 7 minutes. So really 7 minutes, dads. That's not cool. We got to do a better job. You watch a football game for 3 hours. You watch a basketball game for 2.5, and you spend 7 minutes a day talking to your son. That's terrible. Like Charles Barkley would say, that's terrible. So, but I got another question for you. How do you think that we can make sure we always trust each other?
Okay. Another way that I know that we can always trust each other is that, okay, so if another way that we can all, that I know that I can trust you is like getting along, like watching a baseball game together, like going outside and playing catch. That's how I know I can trust you and you're just not gonna like betray me.
I think the way we can always know that we can trust each other is that we respect each other. I think we should always try to respect each other. Even though my son is 7, he deserves respect. My 28-year-old son, he deserves respect. Respect your son. Now, that doesn't mean you can't discipline them, but you got to respect them, the way you talk to them, the way you talk to them around other people, the way you let other people talk to him. Because you can lose trust is if between each other if you just let other people disrespect him. You got to be the one to tell other people, oh, no. He might be wrong, but you're not going to disrespect him. Not while I'm around, not while I'm alive. I don't give a damn who it is. If he's wrong, he's going to pay for what he did. But I'm not going to tolerate him disrespecting another individual, and I damn sure not going to tolerate another individual disrespecting him. So basically, you got to have your sons back. One last and final question I have for you on this subject of trust, because if you want to have a good relationship with your son now and into the future, it's got to be some type of trust and respect. What are some activities or traditions that you and I can do with each other to guarantee that we can continue on, having trust and respecting each other? What's some things we can do together?
So, some things we can do together is I actually have 2 or 3. One is like dads like sports and so do kids. So like for all the fathers and sons, you can like watch a baseball game together, watch a football game together. This like something that you guys both like. Or you can watch a movie together. Or you can go outside and play basketball, play soccer, play baseball, whatever.
Yeah, go out and get something to eat together. Go get smoothies together. Go, do what do whatever it is you two both enjoy. And introduce your son to the things that you like and be open to be introduced to the things that he likes. Just like music, some of the music that you might like, he might like. Maybe some of them, and some of the music that he likes, oh man, I kind of like that. So just be willing and open to share new things together. Just don't be so, stuck in your own ways that you don't work on this relationship that's evolving. So that was this episode of the Raising Carter podcast. If this episode brought you any value, like it. Tell your friends about this podcast, because this podcast is a podcast for fathers with sons and for men that want to be men. Maybe your father isn't around, but still you want to know about issues or things that, that come up in your life. This is the podcast for you. Because maybe one day you'll be a father and you can take from this podcast and hopefully you'll be the better man. Got anything you want to say?
Yes, this is for all the sons out there. If you like something that your dad doesn't know you like, tell him what you like, or else you and your dad don't have anything to do together. Like, for example, if I like video games, I can tell him, oh, I like video games, and then, who knows, we could play a video game together. If you tell your dad what you like, there's more stuff that you guys can do together.
Exactly. Tell your dad what you like, and dads, be open to doing it or trying it. Or being a father is your most important job. I don't care what else you got to do. Everything else is on the back burner. That's your most important job.
And tell your dads what you don't like the movies that you don't like that you guys watch. Tell him, or else you're going to be watching the movie that he thinks you like, but you don't. And tell him, or else you're just going to keep watching the same old movies. And then you have to just tell your dad what you do, what you don't, and do like.
Tell your dad what you don't like, and tell not just about movies or things. Tell him the things you don't like that he might do to you. If he yells at you, if he's physical with you and you don't like that, tell him what you don't like. My opinion is, after your son gets a certain age, you shouldn't be putting your hands on him like that. He can comprehend, he can understand, and you can talk to him. Because after that physical, whoopings or spankings and stuff like that, after a while, to him it feels disrespectful. If we trust each other, then I shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. I should be able to tell him, this is what needs to be done. This is what I want to be done. This is what your responsibilities are, and that you need to do those things. And if you don't do those things, certain activities and fun things you like to do are going to be taken away. Because that's what's going to happen in the real world. When your son gets a job, his boss is not going to take off his belt and whoop him. He's going to fire him. That's what's going to happen. He's not going to whoop him. He's going to fire him. When your son is acting up at school, the principal is not going to whoop him. He's going to kick his ass out of school. So you have to prepare your son for the real world and building up trust and respect and talking to each other. Sons, if you're any type of father worth a damn, if your son is telling you that he doesn't like things that you're doing to him, you need to listen. You need to listen. So that was this episode of the Raising Carter podcast. The Raising Carter podcast is sponsored by I Will Never Quit. So we got the new beanies going on. The new beanies. We got the hats. We got the I Will Never Quit hats going on. And I Will Never Quit is, the meaning behind it is never quit on yourself. Yeah, life might, send you in different directions. You might have to quit certain things, but never quit on yourself. Never quit on yourself. That'll be the biggest mistake you can ever make.
And if you're bad at sports, who says to quit? If someone tells you, oh, this quit sports, don't listen to them. If my dad says, oh, you're bad at it, so this quit, I'm not going to quit. Like, you have to practice to get better at stuff.
Everybody has to start somewhere. If you look at our first podcast episodes, they're not as good as the ones we're doing now. Everybody has to start somewhere. Never quit on something that can benefit you in the long run just because it's hard. Just because it's hard, but you know that this thing could benefit you in the future, you're only hurting yourself. So that is this episode of the Raising Carter podcast, and we are out of here. Peace.